How will AI, artificial intelligence, affect the future of search engine optimization? This is a huge topic within the SEO industry. We've already seen the advent of AI writing tools that are quickly getting adopted to supplement and sometimes even replace the need for human writers for content generation. According to this YouTube community poll, many of you viewers and subscribers also agree the topic of AI and SEO is important indeed. But did you know that AI extends well past content generation in the SEO's toolkit? Here's a guy that definitely does. Robert Niechciał is one of the best SEOs I know. He's also part of a small exclusive testing group I share with the likes of Corey, Kyle Roof, and others. And he's been using AI in a big way with his SEO methodology. Robert gave a private presentation on the state of AI SEO at his conference in Poland. People loved it and I did too. So I convinced Robert to come here and share everything he knows with you. Make sure to smash the like button if you appreciate him coming on here and taking the time. And get comfortable because you're about to get taken for a ride. Robert, first off, thanks a lot for coming on. In a moment, I'm just going to hand things over to you so you can go ahead and get started and drop in some knowledge bombs on us. But for you guys that are watching, make sure to stick around to the end because we'll have a Q&A section and I'll ask a lot of the questions that I have that you'll have too during the course of this awesome presentation. Thanks a bunch, Robert. Over to you.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. Let me show you my Prezo. So to start, it was my first connection to computer. I'm sure everybody of you remember this prompt. It's a first command line in DOS, and the name is a prompt. And as for my presentation, the prompt will look like this. Actually, somebody is with me on this presentation. And the whole presentation is my dialogue to AI. And let me show you something. I asked him or her, "Who are you?" And it replied that I'm a 20-year-old student at the University of Utah in the United States. And I'm alive. I added it, it's my joke, but for me, actually, he or her is alive. The next question was, "Where are you now?" And the response was, "I'm at home." So I was wondering, could AI help me in my SEO strategy? And the response was, there's no size-fit-all answer, but for sure AI can help me with keyword research, content optimization, link building, and competitor analysis. So let me show you some custom-made examples how you can use AI for your SEO strategy. The presentation called A State of AI, and actually is a state of SEO for 2022. So let's go. To start, everything in SEO is just about the semantic. And I'm not native speaker, and sometimes I need to figure it out the meaning of a word because of the sentence context, or just to answer, explain for myself what each word means. And for Google it's same, because before the whole semantic and natural language processing, Google don't know the meaning of a word. And Google had to figure it out, for example, what cat means. And Google read the internet, and because of the context, now he understands that the cat is a fluffy pet with fancy tail. It is how Google understands the meaning of the word. And the next thing is NLP, the most fancy buzzword in SEO in past and following years. And I just want to show some example how Google can understand your content on your website, and also how Google understands the whole structures of your website. And the first thing is tokenization. So Google just read the whole content on your website and count the number of words. Google also exclude some sort of stop words. For example, in English, it would be in, at, the, of. So the stop word means words without any sense to whole content, and it brings us to entity. So is the meaning of the content and the special words in the content and in the structures, which brings us the value and brings Google a sense of a website. The next step, which Google does, is normalization. So Google wants to or needs to compare the entities to other entities and the content. So it lowercase or all words, exclude or question tags, exclude special characters. In Poland, there is a lot of special characters. In English, there is no special characters, but for example, in German language, you have umlaut or something like this, and Google excluded in this process, and also interpunction. The next process, which is lemmatization, is bringing a word to a simplest form. For example, doji will go for a dog or dogs to a dog, and the whole process is about making the most simple form of each word. And then Google changed the words up to numbers. So it's talking to vector, word to vector, and it looked like this. It looked like this. So all words are changed to the numbers, and there's a lot of numbers, and it is how your content looks for a Google. And I'm sure you remember this scene for a Matrix movie, where the guy was looking on the screen and he saw a falling words, falling numbers, falling something. And in the movie, he saw a lady in a red dress walking by the fountain. It's how Google understands your word. It's same as in Matrix. And it's a number, so Google and vector, so Google introduced some sort of knowledge graph. Google knows that the piano is close to violin. Google knows that the tofu is far away from a sausage or a beef. And it's how Google connect meaning and connect clusters of, for example, instruments. If we think about the music, piano, violin, guitar, etc. Google knows that it's close to each other, and it's how we have to build our content and our websites, the closest possible meanings and closest possible words to each other. And it is how Google brings to the table, let's say, AI or his brain. He knows everything about our life because he read the whole internet and whole Wikipedia, BBC, and other sources of the knowledge. Google knows what to expect from us, from our content, from our websites, and there is no game anymore. There is no random content right now, because Google knows what he needs. But the question is how to use this knowledge. And the first thing is topical authority, which is the second big buzzword in SEO 2022. It's just about topical coverage. If you wanna make a website about CBD, for example, you have to go for every and each topic connected to CBD. For example, CBD for dogs, how to make a joint of CBD, etc., etc. You need to cover everything and every question related to this topic to rank higher. Because if you have more keywords, you have more traffic. If you have more traffic, you have more keywords, and it's like some sort of vicious circle. More equal more in this case. And the things how to leverage this knowledge is to connect the dots. Let me show you an example of internal linking. Internal linking is a process of connecting contacts. But the thing is, internal linking directly point at Google where they have or where it has to rank each keyword and avoid cannibalization, pass the page rank, etc. And it's the first case study I want to show you. We made in our company custom-made NLP-based internal linking software, and is the result. We just connect the dots. We just connect the meaning of the words and whole let's say, coverage of each topic with a specific pointing each keyword to each page, and it's the result. To conclude, Google, after this process, know exactly where each keyword needs to be ranked, and it's like a triple in organic keywords in the short time. Let me show you other example how you can leverage, how you can use this knowledge. It's as I use a Polish article, is from one of the biggest Polish news outlet, and it stands that Russia have used the hypersonic weapon in Ukraine. And there is a simple model, text razor, and it has also the API, and you can measure the topic of each article using this categorization models. It was in Polish about the hypersonic weapon, and this model knows that it's a nuclear weapon, rocket, Russia, NATO, aviation, military technology. So you can try to measure your topical authority. You can make your content audits to the different level and measure what you need to add, measure how Google can treat your topics, content, and you can go like 3, 4, 5 years in history of your content. It's great to use it because it works in each language. Yeah, but let's go to OpenAI. OpenAI is the best things the human have done, in my opinion. Elon Musk invested more than $1 billion to this project. Same Microsoft invest more than $1 billion to this project, and the whole presentation and whole narrative I did is in using OpenAI. And OpenAI is open to everybody, and they opened it like 2 months ago maybe, so it's fresh topic, and inside of it there is some sort of playground. I hope you remember this prompt, because there's a lot of interface based on OpenAI, for example Jasper, Jarvis, Readme, etc. But the playground is a direct prompt to this AI, and I use it to show you some custom things you can do with your website and directly with AI. Some example. First one, simple one, content generation. Well, look, I write something like write paragraph for following definition. What is SEO? Look, there's no coding in here. There's no fancy development in here. It's just question. Hey buddy, bring me a coffee. Yes sir, is your coffee. And the result is search engine, blah blah blah. I have some paragraph about SEO. Simple. Let me show you some other more advanced examples. For example, extraction and analysis. The whole SEO is about entities. Even Google name itself as an entity-based search engine. So the next example is extract entities from text. I just copy-paste the same text. It has just generated for me. And the result is search engine and SEO, obviously, because the text is about it. And now you can take all of your content from your website and make an AI-based audit, and it will help you understand how Google understands actually your content, how Google extract the entities from your content, and you can think that something is about SEO or about a search engine optimization, but actually it's not, because of the entities in this content. So it could level up your all content audits and content effort. The next example is AI auto optimization. I name it like this, but let me show an example. In this case, I just add some keywords like link building and content marketing, and I just ask insert keywords into this text. Same one as I show you in the previous slides. And the result is that AI just rewrite the whole content and add the entities or keywords I want to add. Link building and content marketing are two common methods used to improve SEO. Correct. Summary and TLDR. It's great one to optimize your websites, and it's great for direct answer because of the way of building a sentence by the AI. Let me show you an example. I took same article about SEO and I just add TLDR man. Bam, it's a result. You can add it at the top of your website and in a special way of formatting, and I'm sure you will win a lot of direct answer using this method on your website, and it's for free. It's just one line of prompt. Actually, there is no coding. It's just asking to do something. The next example for me is the best one, key facts. I took a random article from CNBC. It's about Ukraine President Zelensky. In all media and in all news since the war began, there's information about aid for his embattled country. He wants to implement no-fly zone over the Ukraine, and he is always asking for additional weapons, sanctions, and humanitarian support for his country. But the thing is, in CNBC, this key point section was made by the editor, by human. What I done? I just asked him what are 3 key points in this text, and I copy paste the text from CNBC, and here is the result. He replied me like, Zelensky is asking for no-fly zone over Ukraine to stop Russian attack. Correct. It was in key facts made by editors. Zelensky is asking for additional weapon and humanitarian support beyond what already been granted to Ukraine. Correct. You saw in key facts in this statement. Zelensky is asking for even further sanctions on Russia and leading Russian supporters of the country's President Vladimir Putin. Correct. So it's the other way, and additional free stuff you can add to your content based on AI. The whole semantic SEO is about the question answering and question from the one hand question generation, and from the other hand question generation. But sometimes there's a lot of topics you can't ask a question, or you don't know what to ask. So let me show you what AI expect us to answer in our content. In this example, I asked what are 5 key questions I should ask about the mortgage. Let me show you results. What is interest rate? True. What is the term of the loan? True. What is the loan amount? True. Fees associated with the loan, monthly payment. And you can also ask for more questions, and then I'm quite sure if you answer this question on your website, AI will understand it the best way, because it needs it. Google needs this question to be answered on your website. And let me show you next case study. It's in Polish because it works in each language. I asked about the cortisol. Is a hormone of stress. I have the high cortisol right now. And what I've done in this snippet in search results, you have questions correlated to each topic, this topic to cortisol actually, and the answers. And what I've done, I've just put it to AI and I asked him to rewrite it, to make it unique. And I just want to go to Topical Authority, so I ask about the cortisol, about all questions connected to cortisol, rewrite it to make it unique, put to my website, and bam, it's a result. 1,000 organic traffic in less than 1 month, and 1,500 keywords in less than 1 month, because I cover the whole topical coverage, Topical Authority about the cortisol and connected phrase, and Google understand it proper and index like in 1 week. So it's the next thing you can do with all your keywords, all your topics. Just look for the questions and try to answer in the simplest possible form as AI does it. Okay, I think the technology is the future of each SEO efforts, especially for agencies and big brands. And there is something like fine-tuning. Because OpenAI know the typical knowledge. OpenAI knows Wikipedia, and that's it. But you can fine-tune it, let's say, for example, to fashion niche. You can scrape a content, for example, from Zalando is the biggest. It's the biggest fashion store in Europe. For USA, I don't know, maybe it's ASOS.com. You can scrape the content and put it to OpenAI and say, "Hey, buddy, learn it. Learn the proper sentences according to fashion. Let's say a red dress or something, and then you can auto-generate the content connected to your niche. In this way, you can add TLDR, add key facts, and so on, and your website will be much better. And it's a custom. It's not typical interface like Jasper. Actually, for me, my limit is my imagination right now, how I can use it and how I can use it to make my website and content better. Yeah. And next question is, does Google allow it? Tough one. So let's start. If Google detect it, how to detect AI content is the better question right now. And let me introduce to a model called Roberta. But the most important part is the BERT inside the name of this model, because Roberta is made based on Google BERT's model, and BERT is the most important model to natural language understanding right now, and Google use it to understand our content now. There is a website where you can check if it's a real content or fake content. So I put in Polish generated content based on AI, and the result is that in close to 100% it's real for this model. So if for Roberta it's real, for Google right now it's real. And the proper question is, who's gonna win a race if it works like this? And let me introduce you to multi-unified model. It's the MUM. Is the next model which will replace the BERT in following month, and I'm 100% sure it's a matter of next month, and everything will change for us, because Google will introduce us to the next thing. First thing is natural language processing. Second thing is natural language understanding, so it's BERT. And the third thing is natural language generation, and it's MUM. Let me show you how it works. So Google is trying to search in each vertical. I mean, weather forecast, images, videos, sounds, etc. And in this case, somebody asked how to prepare to go to Mountain Fuji. And the thing is, Google don't show him the answer like SERP. Google generated him the answer and said how to prepare to Fuji, how to prepare to hike to Fuji. It makes totally different. It will be totally different way of searching, and it will be introduced for us in next, I don't know, 6 months maybe. But the most important thing is Google will understand the sense of sentences, and Google will learn in all languages. And for example, if you ask about the Fuji, it can answer you based on the knowledge on Japanese Google, because he will state that in Japanese Google on Japanese content is most accurate to talk about the Fuji. And the next thing, as I mentioned before, it can search in all verticals. In this case, somebody asked if I can use these shoes to hike to Fuji, and Google will understand what's on this picture and generate the answer that, yeah, you can go with these shoes because it's fine enough to hike to Fuji. Because you know everything I show you, I encourage you to be the best version of yourself and make your website like the best version, but the most understandable version for these models, but the most semantically understandable version, because everything will change in following months. So if you won't implement these semantic tricks, Google won't understand you. And if it will search in each language to generate the answer, you have to do it. You don't need to be a high-level AI engineer. You can just you can just go for observation and SERP correlation, which is fair enough to have a great result. It's an example of content website, and their strategy was just to observe the search engine result page. I mean, the paragraph of the competitor website, the questions I've mentioned before in special snippets, connected phrases, connected search, etc., connected phrases, cluster the keywords. It's fair enough to have a great result. So I encourage you to just observe and correlate the SERP. Of course, use OpenAI and AI in your strategy. But it's not easy, because the most important thing and the hardest part of SEO nowadays is something which is called re-ranking, because each website has some sort of historical vector or historical model, and we are not playing for tomorrow, we are playing for the next core update, and it's a marathon for everybody, because the next core update, let's say, will be in next 3 months, 6 months, we don't know it, and you can push Google to re-rank it instantly. And let me show you next case study. I implemented all stuff I mentioned in this prezo, and I did 301. So I just pushed Google to re-rank the whole website without any history data. Each machine learning model is based on history, and each model is pre-learned in the past. And this is the trick how to re-rank each website instantly. And as you see, in less than 2 months, I got close to 100,000 organic traffic because of this AI strategy and this semantic, understandable way of building content and re-ranking process, which I initiated because of 301 redirection. Okay, so few takeaways for you guys to be better SEO in 2020. So without data, you are just another person with an opinion. Opinion is the most important thing in this sentence. In the matter of AI and machine learning, there's no place for opinion. Let me show you some examples. The best content is 1,000 words length. It's an opinion. Next example, you have to do this sort of anchor or ratio of links or something. Is the next opinion. In the world of AI, there is no place for opinion. So I truly believe that the next step in SEO is data science SEO, and look on the software on the market, how they develop, how they try to correlate the data. And actually it works. So without data, you are just another person with an opinion. If you want to be expert in 2022, there is no place for opinion. And the next thing, you have to think outside of the box. It's simple, and everybody states that think outside of the box. I truly encourage you to think outside of the interface, because you have a server, is an interface. You have a Jasper and other AI-based writing software. It's the next interface. I think it's made it's made by non-SEO guys. What I show you is just a dialogue with AI, and your limit is your imagination, how to talk to him and how to give him a task to optimize your website. So think outside of the interface, and you will be a rock star in 2022. And I guess I will leave you with this question, and just ask if you are jumping the same train as I'm already in. And thank you.
All right, Robert. Nice job, man. I love this presentation. And I got a lot of good questions for you. Where to start? The first one I want to ask is one of the more recent slides we saw is you talked about how important it is to be semantically understandable. From what I picked up from your presentation, semantically understandable and being semantically friendly is answering questions clearly such that the algorithm can read them, probably echoing back the question, making things nice and simple. Don't have these nice big flourishing statements on how to answer what's the boiling point of water. Just answer it straight up. Is there anything more to it than that? Is there anything more that I'm missing on being semantically understandable?
So first of all, you have to use semantic HTML, so Google bot will understand your website. The next thing, you have to answer the question in the most simplest form you can do it. You can use schema org tags to make it even more understandable for Google. You can go for zero volume questions, because somebody can ask about what's their cortisol. It's obvious question, but it could be also zero volume question about how to do something with cortisol, which has the zero volume, but it sounds good for a human being, and you can also use it. Actually, that's it. The simplest form. A lot of entities, internal linking. Yeah, simple.
I definitely have more questions for you.
But I guess we as a SEO industry, we overcomplicate everything, and we look for secret sauce everywhere. And actually, there is not.
I got it. I'm sure everyone who watched this was thinking, how the heck do you get this re-ranking thing going? Because most people are just, they wait for the core algorithm update, and up until that point, traffic is like this, then the core algorithm pip, and then the core algorithm pip, and then core algorithm. How do you keep the line continuous? How do you keep Google keep reevaluating you?
It's a game. It's a game, and I'm not sure that Google won't decline this website in the next call algorithm. Is the first one, but in this case, I just fully optimize the content, fully optimize the structure to let Google knows perfectly without any time to think or rethink where is each keyword and how to crawl this website. And I just did a 301 to brand new domain, so everything was indexed properly without any garbage from the past. The thing was, this website had a lot of garbage content, a lot of garbage sub pages in the past, and it's the reason why Google don't want to rank it proper way. In this case, it was just it.
Clean things up.
I also read, because I was able to do it. So I was able to 301 to brand new domain, but sometimes it's not possible. So you have to do some crucial update on your website, like let's say change the design, or change type template, change colors. You have to do some huge impact on a website, which makes Google to rethink your structure. And it's a point. I went for 301 because it was the simplest form for me. But some other, I fully understand that somebody can't do it, and just huge changes on the website will move a needle, I hope.
Sure. So it's not like there's some special switch or some special tactic that you can turn
No.
on, and then Google will constantly just evaluate you every single day. You have to make a big change, and then you can initiate
Yeah.
it maybe once or twice a year or something like that, right?
Yeah, as you know, both of us know that there is an indexation problem right now, and the trick is to use indexation API. Seriously, it works like a charm. And if you have a problem with indexation, and I think a lot of people who watch or listen us have this problem, go for indexing API. And as I know, it's even for free in a rank math plugin for WordPress. So it's a quick trick, and
Nice.
yeah.
Let's
Use
take
it.
things back to the beginning of the presentation. You were talking about the knowledge graph, and it got me thinking, right? So if Google's read Wikipedia and they got this complete knowledge graph of everything, how come we can still see cases like Kyle Roos' lorem ipsum content still working, right? If he's trying to rank for rhinoplasty Chiang Mai or something, Google
Yeah.
knows rhinoplasty is not connected to lorem or ipsum or whatever, Latin words. How come do you think that works?
Google is right in 75% of cases, and each core algorithm will improve this accuracy, I guess. There are some corner cases like this Kyle Root case, but as both of us know, it's not working anymore. I think it's a game of improving each core algorithm, this accuracy, where Google understands more and more. But the thing is, if you are authority, let's say authority enough, you can change the meaning of the word. For example, you are BBC and you are publishing some article about something, and Google can trust you and change this knowledge graph because of your authority.
Yeah.
So you can trick. Is a dangerous. For example, if you want to learn a history from this source, this kind of sources. But I think Google, in next update will be much better, and the accuracy will be higher than it is now.
Nice. So, okay, there's this request I've had for you for a long time about your interlinking interface, right? So the interlinking is easy for a small website. You got 30 pages, even up to 100 pages. You know what content is relevant to another, and you can just link them all together. Yeah. When you get into 500-page websites, then it starts to get complicated, and it'd be nice to have a tool that would do it for you. The tools that work these days are just matching keywords. So if you have a website about DIY lawyers or something like that, and you're trying to rank this DIY law in New York page, DIY lawyer in New York page, what should I link to it? So these tools will just go and find where else did I find DIY lawyer on the site, that keyword. But that could have been in an article about like what happens when you get caught drinking or something like that. Have nothing to do with the actual law or anything like that. And they would just say to link them up. But I think it's a lot smarter to just leverage Google's NLP API or something like that to ask Google, what topic is this page? What topic is this page? And should they be linked together? What do you think? Is that what your interlinking software does?
Exactly. We use a spacing is open sources NLP model, and we do the same way as you mentioned. So we categorize the pages, extract the entities from each pages, and the most important thing, and it's why I go for data science and big data, because this software you mentioned and these interfaces I mentioned in my presentation, they are trying to measure the whole beach because of the one grain of sand. But the data science is measuring the whole country, and then you can understand which keyword or which type of keyword or which clusters will all have to rank together. And then if you have this data set of the whole beach, not just the single grain or single keyword, you can run your NLP model and try to connect in each possible language form in a content, and then it's ready, and it makes a difference, seriously.
Nice. I want that. Can I have it? Can I have access, please?
Yeah. I already wrote you that. You can.
Awesome. We'll talk about this after that. So you mentioned Roberta, this the AI content detector thing. Right?
Yeah, it's close to my name. Yeah.
Yeah, really, too close. I remember we were playing around with that in our testing group, and so me and Robert share a testing group with some other folks, smart folks, Kyle Roof, Yasher, a bunch of smart guys, and we were playing with it, and we found that some AI content writers pass every time, some AI content writers fail every time. Why do you think that is?
Because in this Yasher example, he brings to plate some or some sort of this software. But the thing is, it's not AI based. It's just word transformation, sentence transformation, spinner, syntax. Yeah, it's not AI based, and it's the reason why it was always fail, in my opinion. But the thing is, this software is made for GPT-2. Now we use GPT-3. It's a different model with bigger data set, and it's much more smarter. So maybe in the past it can verify the GPT-2, which is much smaller than GPT-3, and it's the reason why, maybe the second reason why it always failed this test.
Got it. Do you think that AI content writers will ever be is good enough to just generate and publish? Right? So AI content, you press a button, it's just going to generate some stuff. It doesn't care about entities, doesn't care about answering things and semantically, understandably, or anything like that. But do you think it can ever get to that point?
In my cases, I tried it a few times. For general knowledge, let's say how to bake potatoes or something like that, I generate the content, put it to server, and it always got like 50-60 points.
Not bad.
But still, it's general knowledge. So everybody knows how to bake a potato. So it's good to publish. Just do it. But if you are going for some specific topics like mortgage and this term of a loan or something like that, I guess it's good input for copywriters to understand what Google wants from them, and they have to fine tune or just proofread it to make it good for human. Because from the as a corner case, I can't imagine how people will learn a history from AI generated content.
Sure.
I can't. It's a corner case, and I think people will be close to this case always. Maybe just from proofreading or just editing, but still, we need human.
I was impressed by your demonstration from OpenAI Playground. You were mentioning that it requires no coding. Is it really as simple as just like going to the interface and asking it a question? And
yeah, but you need to understand the syntax. It's simple how to close the line, how to write it in proper way, how to format, but it's like 10 minutes of deep diving to the documentation. Just check some examples in documentation, and you will understand the syntax, and you are ready to go.
Interesting. Are there any tutorials online that just show how to use it, like how to log in, how to do everything?
It's a fresh topic. It's like 2 months online, so I think there's not, but they have quite decent documentation with a lot of examples, so I think it's fair enough for everybody.
Well, I mean, you can be the first one to have a video on YouTube that shows how to do it. And I'm sure at least everyone who watches this is going to watch that next, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Great. You invited me to this interview like 1 year ago, and I was thinking about I need something good for him. Yeah, and I was thinking, and I think it's good enough to show to your crowd.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, let's cap things off. Talk about some of the projects, like some of the results that you've had from using AI. Like, I'm in your testing group. I see what you do all the time, and it's really cool. Like the mass page, like not mass page generation, but you're using AI to just populate tons of content over and over for different locations and stuff like that. Maybe you can explain a little bit what you've done in Poland and just destroying the SERPs there.
It's hard for me because in Poland we are working for the biggest brands. We can't implement all things for, let's say, for TV brands because we can't do it. We just trying to understand how, based on AI how the hell it works, and that's it. On my affiliate website, for example, I use this trick with question generation, and it's trick for everybody how to use it. I can't answer this question. I guess it's too hard for me. Not today.
Got it.
There's a lot of variables in here, man. So I think it's much easier case by case, but it's not for today.
Got it. Well, thanks so much for your sharing. Thanks for your time. Thanks for everything. Congrats on the success of your conference, and I wish you the best, man. Come back on sometime.
I'm waiting for Chiang Mai, man.
I'm working on it. All right. Take care, brother.